Look at that. Welcome to Actual Play. That always gets me every time it just hot drops and we're live. So
I was getting into it, man.
Tonight we're playing Nibiru, and I am your host and narrator, Matt J. Nibiru is a science fiction role-playing game of lost memories. Players take on the role of vagabonds. These are amnesiacs lost in a massive space station, home to millions, where stories of drama and struggle are written on a daily basis. All channel proceeds are split between the Black Lives Matter and the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund. So we appreciate your patronage. Tonight we're doing some things to mix. We're doing some things differently. We're going to mix things up a little bit because Sean's away and I'm the host tonight. This first hour, we're going to jump right into play. I'll explain the game and the setting as we play. Not too much different than how I run one-shots. We'll do that for the first hour. We'll take a bio break, and then the second hour, we will introduce all the players. We'll talk a little bit about how the game has gone so far, and then we'll wrap up with some more gameplay. Does that sound good for everyone? To everyone, does that sound good? You good? You guys ready?
Good. Yeah,
I'm still ready.
All right. We talked about safety tools and lines and veils in our session 0. And I also did a one-sheet handout. I'll read a little bit of that. Since all our vagabonds are amnesiacs, they've spent some time with a woman named Helen under her care. She's recently told them that they're all special, each in their own way. It's why I gathered you all, because alone life is hard, but together we can smooth out that hard edge and find some answers. We're leaving. We're going to move to Suruptu, the big city. We're going to take on a big job that'll net us a barge. It's a big step to a better life. And with that, Helen, who's looked after all three of you for some time, has left you all to lock up the vault where you live in Stillhold, make sure things are secure, take perishables and supplies on the hauler, and meet her in Suruptu, where she'll make accommodations and have passes for everyone. That was 3 or 4 days ago. Stillhold is one of the flooded vaults, known for fungus farms and stills. The vault is kind of tucked away, forgotten in this massive structure that is Nibiru. Adder, tell us about yourself, what you're doing to pack, and what does Helen expect you to bring for her to Suruptu?
Well, Adder is seasoned. He appears to be late 50s if you're generous, perhaps pushing his 60s. He does have a very fine beard and prefers to dress, as you can see, while he gathers up everything into the large kind of wooden and metal cabinet that he's fashioned into to be like a large backpack. Like he carries a chest on his back, that in that chest he's loading a large number of silks and nice undershirts that he likes. Of course, they're all bordering on threadbare, but they still look nice because he wears vests over top of them, so you can hardly tell the sweat stains or the like. So he's most often, well, not most often, but for Helen, he's bringing some mushrooms from the fungus farms that can be flavorful for cooking. That's probably the thing she'll like the most. But he also packs in a little memento that he's found that looks odd because it appears to be made of metal. It's about this big. He kind of sights down it at one point. It's his monocular, as he calls it. It's obvious that it's got some kind of way to affix it onto something. Like he could mount it if he had such a thing, but he doesn't. He just kind of carries it and he slides it into the chest before he closes it up and straps everything with these mismatched belts to make sure that it doesn't fall out. And then picks it up and starts to head for the exit of the vault.
Nice. What about you, Ormus?
Ormus is noticeably younger than Adder. He's pretty stocky. He's wearing like a very kind of dirty, greasy, well-used jumpsuit that like a mechanic or somebody might wear. And just barely visible around parts of his neck are some kind of tattoos of strange symbols. He's also just completely bald. And he's mostly trying to make sure that like we get a good supply of like spare parts that'll be helpful, for the journey, just to keep the equipment working until we get to Saruptu, and then beyond that, because spare parts are always useful. That's kind of how he helps the most with what Helen has going on and what she asks of it. Is he just sort of has a way with technology and machines.
Very cool. I like that. Is there a difference in how Ormus looks from, say, Adder?
Not. I wouldn't say like noticeably. No.
Okay.
Just yeah.
And Magog. Tell us about Magog.
Magog is maybe a head taller than the other two. Hair on his back, hair on his arms, hair on his face. Smells like fungus and poop, because that's where fungus grows, and fungus is good. He was sort of chuckling to himself good-naturedly as he saw these guys loading up silks and materials and binoculars. He's like, well, he brought a little fungus. I'll bring a lot of food and supplies, because who knows where we're going. He's got a big shovel on his back. He doesn't quite remember where it came from, but he's had it for a while. I picture, if it's safe to walk around here, he's walking barefoot around this place, and he's wearing no shirt, just some version of overalls. Like he's taken some mechanic suit and like chopped it up a little bit to give his chest a little room to just breathe in this sweaty, stuffy environment we're in.
Nice. I would say still hold as a vault. It's probably pretty large. You guys are most of the settlements are upside one side of the vault wall. You can't see the other wall from the side that you're on. Most of the surface is kind of flooded, maybe as high as your ankles, not much higher than that. As you move out toward the exit of the vault, there's kind of a waterway, and most folks either call it the stillway or the waterway. And there are kind of rafts and skiffs and things like that, folks that kind of push themselves with poles down the waterway. If you travel far enough down this waterway, it meets a large tunnel that's also flooded. Way more traffic, a variety of floating craft. That is the main way, and that will take you all the way to Saruptu. So you're going from this side waterway into this main tunnel, and then that main tunnel will take you to the big city of Saruptu, which we've never been to before. There's a thing called a hauler, And one of the cool things I like about Nibiru is the automations, how they get repurposed by the humans to do things they weren't meant to do, or other things to make our lives easier, but taking away from whatever their main purpose was. So this hauler is kind of small. Maybe it stands about 4 feet high. It moves, and its main sole job is to carry stuff, right? So ideally, you're going to take this hauler with you. You're going to load it up with stuff. There's a skiff that you guys have or can use to get down this waterway. Any last minute things you want to do before you take to the water?
So does this hauler in particular, is it more like a boat, or is it just muscling through on like robot feet?
Yeah, no, this is muscling through like on robot feet. Like,
Gotcha.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like robot feet.
Okay. And we're stuck
so at some
either
point, go ahead.
we're stuck either on foot or on this little skiff if it'll hold us.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, the travel is all by water, right? So you'll have to take some type of boat, skiff, raft, or whatever out to the main tunnel. And then that whole main tunnel is water travel all the way to Saruptu. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is the last look at your home, which is probably an improvised tank. There's a bunch of tanks around. Like I said, it's mostly a fungus farm and whatever you can still from water, right? Whatever people do with stills, right? Any last minute chores, last minute tasks?
Oh, Adder will do the thing of walking and like lifting up every single thing in our part of the vault to make sure that you sure you don't need this? Or you sure that you left this behind and that there was that? No? Okay, well, all right. And then he grabs a couple of things they don't need that he'll probably regret carrying around.
Nice. The skiff is sizable, right? It'll hold the three of you and the hauler and the stuff. I say skiff, but maybe that's the wrong word. I'm not big on seafaring vessels. Skiff sounds nice, but I'm thinking whatever the craft is, it's large enough to carry you. And there are other crafts like that out there on the still waterway, right? Other folks are out there, and it's a dead end. Still hold is, right? So everyone's heading out the same way, out to the main tunnel. The water itself is pretty still. So like I said, folks are having either row or they're using poles to kind of make their way out into that junction. What time of day or what section of the day do you think we're in? Did you get an early start? Is it maybe afternoon-ish? That's weird to say because Nibiru is a space station, so there's no sunrise, no sunset. What does it feel
maybe
like?
If Adder was sort of the tendency to sounds a little obsessive, which I mean, I could imagine we got the latest start possible. We meant, I don't know, maybe we prepared too long. It took us too long. We're leaving home. It took us too long to figure out when to leave and what we were going to bring.
Yeah,
I like it.
I kind of had the same idea. If we're probably getting out of here later than we intended.
Gotcha.
Well, we can
it.
only leave once.
Got to do it right the first time.
I like it. That's perfect. So I think that let me do this. So I think what's happening then is we're traveling down this waterway. It's crowded. You can't see both sides of the hull, right? And most of the settlements are on one side. So we're kind of traveling down this waterway that way. Folks are being polite, trying to make sure they don't bump into each other, but also keep movement happening. Maybe we spend a couple of hours. We're making good way, but again, like I said, it's kind of crowded as we make our way down to the main tunnel. At some point, you can see the big arch of the main tunnel as it junctures with the tunnel you're in. And then you see another skiff kind of rock and get overturned, right? It's kind of heavy. And maybe you saw this all along as we're riding, kind of like when we used to travel by air on planes and people have those big giant suitcases and they're trying to stuff them up in the thing, right? And you know it's not going. Maybe it's like that. You've got this boat and you see it's kind of wobbling to one side because it's heavy, right? Mm-hmm. And this whole trip down. And then finally it just capsizes, right? What do you, and it's in front of you. It's like 2 or 3 boats in front of you.
Does that boat, were there people on it or was it just stuff?
It was stuff, but it had people on it. There were people on it.
How deep did you say the water? Like the water's not like super deep, right? It's just easier to travel on the water.
It's probably 5-6 feet deep.
Okay, yeah. My instinct then is going to be to try to help the people, like get them, make sure nobody's like struggling or getting buried by luggage, things like that. Like getting the people out of the water. Stuff can come later.
Could be a trap or a miss.
I will also say, the further back to the settlement that this waterway was, maybe it's like 3-4 feet, right?
Yeah.
And it starts to, right? The closer you get, right, as you get to that main tunnel, sure. Right? So this will be our first test.
Okay.
So in Nibiru, all the dice rolls are 4d6. Base tests are 3d6, and we're looking for 4s for successes. So let me share my screen here. There we go.
Yep.
And we'll go with Oramus so we can see what he's got here. And unless you're buying memories, which we can talk about, the base roll is just 3d4, and 1-4 will get you a success. Mm-hmm. And you're in the water, you're helping these folks. I assume everyone in Stillhold has some swimming ability, right? Because we're this close to the water.
Sure.
The real problem is getting clobbered by stuff or being pinned by stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I sort of have a vague idea for a memory, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I might just come right out of the gate and add a memory.
All right, I like it. So you have to decide what level of memory, how much you're going to spend.
Yeah, I'm just gonna spend 1 for now, and I'll spend it for a positive memory. Take that out. And the memory I'm thinking is kind of in my weird memory past. Like I have a flashback of a situation where there was like I don't have a better word other than like cave-in.
Okay.
But something like that, but in a space station tunnel. There was some sort of collapse in a tunnel, and all of these very frail humans were getting squashed and trapped by all these heavy things, and it was like a semi-epiphany to me as a machine that I'm not nearly as squishy and I'm way more strong than humans are.
Right.
And I was able to, pull them free from danger.
I like that. And so then that also, go ahead.
Like I said, the thing I was unclear about when doing flashbacks is because now we decide what type of action that the memory is a bonus to, and I wasn't clear if that's something the narrator decides or like based on my memory.
Yeah, I think what happens is I'm probably supposed to. Yeah, it's weird there, right? My approach is we're going to talk about it and we'll figure it out, right?
Okay.
I went into this thinking swimming, but it sounds like you've got something more stamina based, more constitution.
Yeah, I was thinking more. Right? It's more physical, just like strength or stamina or, wherever we want to dial it in for not too broad, not too specific. I don't know.
Right. Let's call it stamina for now, and then we can revisit it depending on, because it's our first one, and rather than try to nail it down, we could always retcon it. So does that sound fair, stamina?
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Cool. And so I will add it. I think you all can see the narrator sheet, right? I will add it there.
Oh, okay.
And so that's our first action type.
Thanks.
And we'll just track them all right here like that.
Awesome.
So buying a memory gives you the success, right? That puts you in the water. That gets you in there helping those folks.
Yeah.
You don't have to roll the dice for that. And I think a 1 gets you a +1 for stamina action types, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we see Ormus hop in, swim out to that boat, start moving stuff around, maybe pulling folks back in closer to the boat. Maybe even helping them right that boat, right? What's Adder and Magog? What do you guys?
I would have just immediately. I take the unspoken order that this is what we're doing. So I jump in, I have my shovel out to help. Maybe I reach. I don't know how close people to the boat. Stick my. I'm not so much into getting in the water. I'm not too happy about swimming. Are we close enough? Maybe I stick my shovel out and pull some people onto our boat. If that's not the deal, then I will grudgingly jump in after Ombres and follow him over to try to help.
All right.
I'm pulling all our stuff near the back. We don't want it to get wet or messed with. Just make it sure. I'm thinking long term.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair. No, that's good. Those go off without a hitch, right? Maybe Magog pulls 1 or 2 people on board into the boat while Adder is reshuffling things around on the boat. And then maybe the second person Magog brings on, she kind of lets out a scream, a yelp, and she points further out away from the overturned boat. And there's like a young man, maybe 20-ish, right? He pops up out of the water, right? He's thrashing, right? And he goes back down under again.
I mean, I'll look to, is Ombres paying attention to it? Does anybody? I know Adder probably isn't going to, so I would jump in the water if it looked like Ombres didn't notice, but I don't want to take the initiative.
It sounds like you're taking the initiative. You're the one talking.
Okay, I'll look around and nobody else. So then I'll grudgingly jump in and sort of really bad, like frog paddle. I'm a terrible swimmer. I'm almost going under, going straight toward the dude.
Cool. I like it. The same for you. I think everyone that has grown up in Stillhold has some amount of swimming ability, right? Because the water's right there. But the 3 of you are kind of different because you're not necessarily from around here. So this will also be a test for Magog. It's the same 3d6, 3d4. Or you can buy memory that you think might help you here.
Not that. I don't. Do you want to overdo? I mean, I could throw a memory in right now about I don't like the water. So when I jump in, I could easily remember. I have strong feelings of happiness about the sun and warmth, and about I feel like there's about open air, and I remember falling into the water and going under and seeing the sun. And like the only thing that led me back is the sun. So the only thing that saved me from drowning. So I'm so this is like, I don't know if it might be a negative memory. I could even be a positive memory about the sun, or be negative about drowning. Almost
right. No, it can certainly be a negative memory. I kind of like that. If you're okay with doing that, let's do that. Right?
Let's do that. Memory. It's negative. I almost died. I mean, I'm not remembering the part where I got out. I'm just remembering what it was like going under and seeing the sun slowly disappear as I went down. So yeah.
Right. You will pick up 2 memory points for the negative memory, right? You also fail this action, right? We'll talk about that. I feel like if we say it's a -1 to stamina, I feel like that's harsh, right? So maybe it's a different action type. Maybe it is -1 to swimming.
Maybe I was gonna say it seems like maybe it's just specifically swimming.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could make it anything. I mean, if you wanted to, I don't know how they get stretched out, but you could make it in everything watery, not just like swimming in the deep, but is he prone to slipping on water? Does he avoid water? I mean, I could have hydrophobia. I don't know how it plays out.
I'm gonna add swimming only because I know when I look at some of the other NPCs and things, creatures and flora and fauna in Nibiru, swimming is a thing, right? So I will make this swimming.
I also kind of like that it definitely like marks Magog specifically as an outsider. So like you said, like everybody that's from this area of Nibiru, they all know how to swim. And then there's this lumbering oaf with the shovel.
Yeah, if I fail, you talk about we're in like 5 or 6 feet. I should be able to stand on the bottom and like keep my head up. But I could easily almost feel like I could just start freaking out. If I fail this, I could just start freaking out in the water, even though I could stand up in the water, hypothetically.
Right. Oh, that's even worse, right? I think it's about 6 feet, right? And again, so you're flailing, right? And maybe it's because your fear of the water. Maybe it's because you don't know you could just stand up, right? And we see that kid. I say kid, but remember, I'm 50, so 20. It feels like your kid. That sounds horrible, but I want to distinguish between 8-year-old, right, kid, and someone older, because one of our lines in Veils was no harm to kids, right? So this young man, you see him pop back up, and his arms are just flailing about, right? He's trying to catch his breath, and he's flailing, and he goes back under again. And Magog is out there struggling.
Stand up, you idiot! And then I will get out of the boat and try to go help this young man. I'm gonna help him, Magog. He's fine.
Nice. So we know there's a swimming action now.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend any memory points on it if you don't want to. You could just roll the 3d4. You just need 1 4 as a success, right? To swim out there to get a hold of that young man to be able to help him.
I think this does trigger a memory. The time when he appears again, it's not actually a memory of water. It's a memory of when he was standing watch and he saw some people coming up to the gate, and they were waylaid by some bad folks, and he had to make that decision of do I stand at my post or do I do something about it?
Right.
So he decided, I got to do something about it. So he doesn't want to. He thinks this isn't the best choice. This could be a setup.
Nice.
It does really look like that kid's going to drown. So
right.
I'll head out that way. I have a quick meta question. If I'm from Brighttown, is are all my memories supposed to be related to my memento? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And I think to tie it to Adder's memento, he pulls up and he's looking through his monocular when he watches this.
Okay, then in my memory, I'll only backtrack to maybe he was trying to get his shovel. So he's holding onto the shovel and he can't get to basically the shovel's drowning him. So
I like it. Yeah, I forget about that when you're from Brighttown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yours is the monocular. That's your thing?
That's monocular, yeah. All right, so 3 die 4, and that. So do I have to roll because I'm spending the memory point?
No, you don't. If you spend the memory point, you don't have to roll. Let's call this action type awareness, right? And it'll be clear in a minute here. I'm gonna add that in here. I like the memory. I like how you laid that out. I think, especially if you pull out your monocular, right? I think you see when the young man pops up, right? I think you see some weird creature appendages from his waist down, right, that are hanging on to him, right? Again, right, this is him being waylaid, right? It is a trap, right? You can see this with your monocular.
Called it.
Dang it.
Let's also do this. When you're from Brighttown, everyone has a memento that their memories are attached to. And we didn't do it ahead of time. We're going to do it now. You have to roll for that significance of that memento. And that is how many memories you have tied into that thing. So both Magog and Adder are from Brighttown. What is it, 2d6? Is that right?
4. It is 2d. It's 2d4.
2d4.
I think it's just always d4s. I think in this game. Well, I know it's 2 dice.
I think you're right. I don't know why I keep saying d6.
Yeah, I mean 2d6. Maybe you played some kind of game that has apocalyptic.
Yeah, you're back at Fighting Fantasy Game Book. You're rolling the 2 dice. You're writing things.
Maybe not that, but yeah, maybe. All right, I'm gonna roll 2d4 for the thing. Here we go.
Yes.
That is a 5. So my memento has a significance of 5. So I have 4 more memories that if I create the memory, I have to tie it to that memento.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I've created a 5th one, that memento's used up and I'll need something else to create new memories.
Right.
Is it you need something else or you can just create memories about whatever you want at that point?
I'll reread it because we're probably not going to do that tonight, but I thought it said you had to find a new memento.
Okay, that's cool.
Right. And there are rules for finding new mementos, which also implies something about the setting.
Nice.
Which I think that's that advanced level play. But yeah, I think if you're from Brighttown, you have to have a memento to create new memories.
Nice.
So we'd have to
and it looks like Magog, you have a significance of 4.
Yes, I rolled 4. Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly right.
So, and I'll let you guys keep track of that. I'll remind you from time to time, but so yes, Adder, you see something has a hold of that young man out in the water.
There's something got hold of the kid. Magog, you had a half good idea with that shovel. Go whack him.
I hear the order, and so I might try to find my footing. So maybe I do figure out I can hit the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, grab him by I end up grabbing some of his gorilla back hair there, but I grab a bit of his coveralls to ride him up.
All right.
Okay, and I still have my. I'm also poorly swimming because I was carrying this stupid shovel. I'll try to start wading my way very slowly through the water toward him, Frankenstein style.
Nice.
Is it because I imagine by this point, everybody else is out of the water. We've
yes
them out.
And you've got their boat righted up. Yes.
Yeah. So I would probably be right near Magog. Like, this is the last person that got dunked. So, and something's obviously pulling this kid down. So, turn this into a 2-man job.
Nice.
I've got the, he's got the shovel and I've got the stamina.
So this will be our first contested roll. So we'll talk about that too. And helping, right? Because this is way easier if you help.
Nice.
We're going to put the action on Magog because he has the shovel. Ormus helps Magog, so you'll pick up an extra D4 for that. Unless you create a memory, Magog, this is 3D4 plus the extra die from Ormus, and it'll be versus whatever's going on with this kid and the creature that has him.
No, I don't want any more memories about the water. Thank you very much. I'm all done. Let's just skip the memories and make the roll.
Maybe you have a memory about, beating snakes with a shovel or something.
Right, literally, right. Well, we could go heavy. I mean, I could come up with a memory. Do we want? I mean,
it's if you want to spend the points or not. That's up to you, man.
Oh, how much? So how much does it? And I can choose how much to spend. Let's do it. I'm gonna use 3 points for +2 action type. And this is not the first time. I don't know about rescuing people, but this is not the first time I have killed some monster somewhere. I can't even. I don't. If it had tentacles or something, but I remember beating it and beating it and beating it with my shovel until it wasn't moving anymore, and it was really big. And I felt very proud about this. Very proud. So that could invigorate me. I'm all up on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this is what we're looking at. So the kid is kind of wrapped like that as you guys close with this thing, and it rises up above the surface of the water again.
Oh,
right?
so
you're close enough. Go ahead.
Oh, so just looking at that picture, so the whole thing isn't the mermaid. It's the human part is a person, and then
right.
The other part, that's the mermaid, and it like latches on.
Yes.
Not a mermaid. That's a bad touch.
Yeah.
So I get an automatic success. I made a positive memory and automatic success, right?
Nice.
Yes. And a new action type.
Beaten.
We could call it killing, but that seems
whatever.
Savagery. I don't know.
Yes.
Smushing, squishing, squashing, bashing, whatever.
I'm gonna go with melee because you're using that shovel, right?
Yep.
And so I've just added that. And again, by the time we get to our second or third session, if we need to revisit some of these, we could do that. I think that's cool. Yeah, I think. Well, yes. So you bought the memory. You have a success. Tell us what that looks like. How do you win that? What does success look like between the two of you?
I assume most of the thing is under the water, so I don't. I'll let Umbris decide how to pitch it in, but I'm gonna whack whatever I can see.
Yeah, I was sort of imagining like at some point I'm pulling this dude out of the water as best I can, and that's making this mermaid visible, and that gives Magog a target for his handy shovel.
So I'm just like, I see the water right about like here at my neck, and my shovel's up, and as he gets pulled up and more of the mermaid's exposed, I just pound on the mermaid. I hate to call it a mermaid. It's so nasty. I mean,
yeah, and it is called the mermaid in the game too. So.
Oh, it is monster.
Yeah. So I think also part of that success means that as Magog is pounding on it, I think Ormus realizes that this kid is dead, right? And has been for some time, right? Right. It was always bait, right? It never fell into the water just now, right?
It was just there waiting.
Right.
I think there's that moment where like I'm like I think like on one level, I realize that this kid's dead and everything you just said, but on a whole other level, like I'm not ready to like give up on him. Like there's that part of my consciousness that's like, no, like live, damn it, live. Like it's gonna be okay. Like I imagine sort of getting him up onto whatever boats nearby and doing CPR and chest compressions and probably going at it like way too long before finally like letting it sink in that this is just like a total lost cause. Like it might even take like, you know, I would imagine like maybe even like Adder having to like pull me off or somebody pulling me off just to.
I think when you pull him up, the mermaid, Magog does a job on it, so the mermaid's finished. But it doesn't completely release from the kid.
Yeah.
And so you have parts of it attached, parts of it unattached. A good, let's say 80% of it you can remove from the kid, so you can get back to his legs and things like that. But there's pieces around its neck and down its spine that are kind of embedded into it, and they don't come out.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, let's say the boat you bring it up onto was the one that capsized, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was picturing.
Yeah.
So there's probably that whole process of me trying to like rip and tear as much, you know, maybe I have a utility knife or something, trying to get this thing off of him, but it becomes, I think it becomes apparent to like everybody else pretty quickly that this ain't happening, but I think Ormus is the last to realize it.
And I think, as you predicted, Adder will probably climb over from the one boat and hop the space into the boat which you guys have flipped over, and he'll come and take Ormus by the shoulder. Come on, kid. It's
probably that initial like swatting you away. Like, I can do this, you know.
Do what? He's dead. He's dead. Ormus, let it go.
If we'd been just a little bit quicker, maybe we could have saved him.
And I'll take a cursory glance and go, that kid was dead before this all started. You didn't do anything wrong.
And that is true.
I think that's probably finally when like Ormus takes like a real good look at what's left of the guy and the situation, and kind of like that's when he kind of realizes like, oh yeah, this was never going to happen.
And I look right at Magog and say, looks like it was a trap.
I mean, I nod grudgingly. He's right. I don't want to believe everything's a trap, but, you know.
Not everything is a trap, but this is a trap.
Hey, if you believe everything's a trap, then you won't be surprised when it is a trap.
Come on. We got to get to Helen.
The traders on the boat that you've helped out, they thank you for helping them out. And maybe they hand off some fungus, some mushrooms as a way of saying thank you.
Nice.
Especially since now they realize they could have easily been new mermaids. Right?
Yeah.
That thing was looking for something new, something different. That whole situation was dangerous. So they do that. They hand off.
I would take. Could I talk them into? I'd kind of like. Could you move us over to our boat again so I don't have to get
They do. I think they maneuver a little bit. And maybe some other folks are moving around so you guys can maneuver so you get the boats together, right? And you're getting glances from folks as they pass by, right? That annoyance thing, like, just swim.
Swim, man.
Are you kidding me, right? You could walk over. But they do. They maneuver so that you can just hop from their boat back into your boat without having to get into the water. Nice. I think the whole mood in the still waterway is kind of somber, right? Folks are a little more cautious, but things have kind of become super somber. Folks are checking the water. You see people poking around with their poles and oars and things as the traffic moves out to that junction where you'll meet it with the main tunnel. And it doesn't take very long for that transition to happen. The main tunnel is called the Gallery of Adel. It's more lit. So remember, everything is kind of enclosed. So there's no night sky, right? From the still waterway, even though it's a small tunnel, you can't see the ceiling because it's dark and that it's far enough out that you can't see past that much. But you can see one wall of the tunnel. You can't see the far wall of the tunnel. Does that make sense? As you reach the Adel Junction, right, you can see there's a chain and everyone's kind of drifting to the left side of the tunnel. And then they're pulling these hooks out of their boats or skiffs and they're locking on to this chain contraption, which seems to be moving, right? And so now these boats are being pulled along out into the Gallery of Adel, right, which is a large waterway. And now they're being moved not of their own accord, but by this chain that's just pulling this traffic through this wide tunnel. Does that make sense?
And is there only one way to? Is there only one way to go?
Yeah, there's one way going towards Saruptu, but the far other side, you can see all the traffic over there too, and it's going the other way, right?
Nice.
As uniform as that could be, right? As crowded as the small still waterway was, the Gallery of Adel, like I said, it's way larger, but it has way more traffic on it as folks are hooking into this chain and getting pulled along. You can see again that boat that's loaded, you can see it kind of rocking a little bit as they chain up, and it's kind of back heavy, right, as it's getting pulled along. But even from where you are, you can see the end of the gallery. It ends in a super wide, super high wall, right? So you've got this water, right, that ends at kind of like a dam, right? And from where you are on your boat, you can see this lift happening at the far end, and it's got folks and boats and supplies and things, and it kind of lifts everyone up to the higher platform. They get off, and then it comes back down to the water level, right, where it takes in the next section of folks. And some folks are getting off, right, because they're going the other way, right? So it's like a large super platform moving up and down as folks are moving from the high level down to the water level. That's where you're headed.
Well, Magog feels some relief. We get to get out of the water now, right?
At some point, yes, shortly. This tunnel too is enclosed, but it's better lit than the still waterway, right? There are lanterns at intervals. There are boats that are bringing out different lighting tools and things to kind of light the way as they go along. And then there are floating lanterns between the two lanes. So it's not brightly lit, but it's way more lit than the still waterway you just came off of. It's probably 20, 30 minutes before you hit that lift at the end of the gallery. And then it's another 45 minutes as folks transition onto the lift, and the lift goes up because it's massive, right? It's huge, right? It goes from one side of the tunnel clear to the other side, right? And then it comes back down, and maybe it does that 3 or 4 times before it's your turn to get on the lift.
Are the boats jostling on their way toward this thing? And you said it got busier. So we all like bumping up against each other and like a log jam, or is everybody still?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. No, that is true. You have folks that try to cut the line, right? Because, even whenever Nibiru is, it's still humans, and people get impatient, right? And so some folks are kind of jockeying and jostling and trying to make sure they make that next cut of the lift going up, right? And even coming down, that there's stuff happening on the far side where they're trying to jockey for position. So because they don't want to wait another cycle of this thing. So folks are antsy, they're tense, right? Because it's close, I can taste it. But you get your turn, right? You pull your hauler out, your boat comes out, right? I imagine the skiff itself, while it may not be super portable, there's got to be a way to get it up onto this lift and store and stage it someplace, right? And so we'll afford that without thinking that all the way through. But the platform, the lift platform, gets pretty crowded. They're trying to pack as many folks in as they can. And then finally, it rises up to the top level of the platform. And this is Suruptu Hall. Again, it's a super wide tunnel, but as soon as it reaches the top, there are smells of different vendors cooking different things, different funguses, different mushrooms, right? You can hear the sounds of, it's like a great big giant market on either side and down the middle. There are shelters. Folks are taking up residence in this super giant hall. And it's pretty long. And this is the hall you'll wander down to get to the city of Suruptu.
Magog wants to trade fungus for fungus. So if this is like a marketplace, he's going to get out some of the fungus, the fungi, I don't know how to do. And he's going to, while the other guys are doing, he's going to try to see if there's fungus he hasn't seen before and see if he could swap fungus for fungus and add some stuff to the fungus collection.
That's fantastic, because there are different funguses. And so we can talk about that. We will do that. Fungus market. What does Adder and Ormus, what do you have planned? What I want to do is we're coming up on our break. So what I want to kind of do is set up what we're going to do next. Sounds like Magog wants to visit the fungus market, which I think sounds fantastic. Mm-hmm. There is some travel from this point down into Suruptu. This is the hole that leads you there.
Right. I'd probably just be spending my time checking the hauler over. Like now that we're off the skiff we took to get here, the hauler's actually gonna have to start doing its job. So I'm probably making sure everything's tip top, that it's gonna make the trek from here to Suruptu.
Nice.
And smell of food. Adder's gonna move up and down if there are vendors or anyone trading food, cooking food, and he'll try to haggle his way around with some of the fungus that we got from those others, the people we helped way back. Maybe you can trade off some of that to get us, a little extra cooked fungus. It always tastes better. Shrooms
than raw fungus.
Yeah.
Nice.
But he's definitely looking to haggle. He likes to argue.
Nice.
I mean, some people like the liquid form. And fermented. I mean, fermented and liquid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll look for that. Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
It makes good machine lubricant.
Let's take a 5-minute break. Is that cool? I say 5 minutes because that's how long the video is.
All right.
That works.
And then when we come back, we'll introduce everybody, talk a little bit about what we've done so far, and play some more.
Sounds good.
And talk more about the fungus.
We'll see everybody in 5 minutes. And have some fungus talk.
For 5 minutes.